This is Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the Scriptures might have hope. I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. And peace, love, and salutation to you, Akim, out there that's pushing this truth and true sincerity. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I'm the brother Anah from the GMS Atlanta Church, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And in the midst of this coronavirus and people freaking out and panicking, you know, if it lasts long enough, it's going to lead to famine. And that's the topic of today. All right. And that's why I read Romans 15:4. Once again, it says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. And famine is prophesied in the scriptures many a times. I know I'm not going to get to 2 Kings, the 6th chapter, or the famine of Egypt with Joseph. I'm going to get into something during the time of Yahweh Shai. Okay. So without further ado, this is something I found through the internet about the famine of 70 AD. Now, first and foremost, okay, Flavius Josephus did not look like this. Flavius Josephus was basically an Uncle Tom Negro who had a Hebrew name, all right, and his Roman name, just how like we have a government name here in Babylon, his name was Flavius Josephus. Okay, let's get a scripture on that, because that's not how Flavius Josephus looked. So this is First Maccabees 3 and verse 48. All right, it says, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen, which has no part to do with the scriptures, read Psalms the 50th chapter, has sought to paint the likeness of their images. So this is not Flavius Josephus, man. This is a damn devil who they painted to be Flavius Josephus, okay? And he was basically caught by the Romans, but he was a historian, so basically his life was spared, okay? So this is basically what happened during the siege of Jerusalem, 70 AD. And this is going to happen here in America pretty soon, man, okay? So I'm going to just read off. It says, why dwell on the commonplace rubbish which the starving were driven to feed upon? Giver that which I had to recount is an act unparalleled in the history either the Greeks or the barbarians, as horrible to relate as it is incredible to hear. The siege of Jerusalem, AD 70 by Josephus. Now Yahushua prophesied to tell Jake about 70 AD, but they didn't hearken because they didn't, take on the words of Yahushua. It says Jerusalem fell after the siege to a Roman army under Titus. All right, basically, if I'm not mistaken, this is during the Flavian dynasty. All right, you had Vespasian, you had Titus. If I'm not mistaken, Vespasian, Titus, and I forgot the third one who preceded them. But you had the Jewish-Roman wars from 66 AD to 70 AD, which led to the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. All right. So throughout the history, people were dying of hunger in large numbers and enduring unspeakable sufferings. In every house, the merest hint of food sparks violence, and close relatives fell to blows, snatching from one another to pitiful supports of life. No respect was paid even to the dying. The ruffians, anti-Roman zealots, searched them in case they were concealing food somewhere in their clothes or just pretending to be near death, gaping with hunger like mad dogs. Lawless gangs went staggering and reeling through the streets, battering upon the doors like drunkards, and so bewildering that they broke into the same house 2 or 3 times in an hour. Now, that's not what's mentioned in 2nd Ezra 15th chapter. Matter of fact, let's get that. Alright. 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. think it's verse 17. All right. Second Ezra 15 and 17. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." Now you see with all these state of emergencies in these states, all right, you're not gonna be able to travel pretty soon. It's gonna be medical martial law, where you can't even go from one city to the next. It says, "For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." Okay, because people are used to having mirth, now all hell's breaking loose, and they don't know what to do. "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Is not what happened according to Josephus' writings? And spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." All right, Jake went to numerous houses 2 or 3 times to see if Jake had food. All right, basically doing kick doors, man. All right, and that's coming here to America with this coronavirus, man. There's gonna be a lot of kick doors here in America when these trucks can't deliver food. You can't go to Kroger, or Piggly Wiggly, or Save-Ons, or Food Right, or Walmart, or Target to get your daily bread, man. All right. So continuing on, it says, "Gaping with hunger like mad dogs, lawless gangs went staggering and reeling through the streets, battering upon the doors like drunkards, and so bewildered that they broke into the same house 2 or 3 times in an hour. Need drove the starving to gnaw at anything. Refuse which even animals would reject was collected and turned into food. In the end, they were eating belts and shoes, and the leather stripped off their shields." Now, a lot of Jake takes pride in the fact that he has a Ferragamo belt, a Louis belt, a Gucci belt, an MCM belt. And in that day, a lot of you Jakes are going to be eating those $300 belts that you take pride on so much. Because Ecclesiastes 1:9 says there's nothing new under the sun. Matter of fact, let's get that. So this is just a little history, man, on 70 AD. You know, because the things written aforetime for our learning, man. All right, Ecclesiastes 1:9. It says, "The thing that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun." So, as I mentioned before this lesson, you had 2 Kings, the 6th chapter, when Samaria was besieged. All right, and I think the king was King Jehoram. Okay, during that time, Jerusalem was besieged, and they were selling dung, pigeons' dung, and other animals. All right, during the siege, you know, basically cannibalism that took part in that time. So continuing on, it says, "In the end, they were eating belts and shoes, and the leather stripped out their shields. Tufts of withered grass were devoured, and sold in little bundles for 4 drachmas. But why dwell on the commonplace rubbish when the starving were driven to feed upon? Give her that what I have to recount is an act unparalleled in the history of either the Greeks or the barbarians, and as horrible to relate as it is incredible to hear. For my part, I shall gladly have omitted this tragedy, lest I should be suspected of monstrous fabrication. But there were many witnesses of it among my contemporaries, and besides, I should do poor service to my country if I were to suppress the agony she went through. Among the residents of the region beyond Jordan was a woman called Mary, daughter of Eleazar of the village of Bezuba. The name means house of hyssop. She was well off and of a good family, and had fled to Jerusalem with her relatives, where she became involved with the siege. Most of the property she had packed up and brought with her from Perea had been plundered by the tyrants Simon and John, leaders of the Jewish war effort, and the rest of the treasure, together with such foods as she had been able to procure, was being carried by the henchmen in their daily raids. In her bitter resentment, the poor woman cursed and abused these extortioners, and this incensed them against her. However, No one put her to death either from exasperation or pity. She grew weary of trying to find food for her kinfolk. In any case, it was by now impossible to get any wherever you tried. Famine gnawed at her vitals, and the fire of her rage was even fiercer than famine. So, driven by fury and want, she committed a crime against nature. Seizing her child, an infant, at the breast, she cried, "My poor baby, why should I keep you alive in this world of war and famine? Even if we live till the Romans come, they will make us, they will make slaves of us, and anyway, hunger will get us before slavery does. And the rebels are crueler than both. Come, be food for me, and an avenged fury to the rebels, and a tale of cold horrors to the world to complete the monstrous agony of the Jews." So let's stop right there. This is an account of a woman who was well off, and when hell broke loose, she ate her own child. Now, in today's modern standards, a lot of these so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American women, according to Jeremiah 31 and 22, let's get that right quick. All right, Jeremiah 31 and 22, it says, "How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth, a woman shall compass a man." A lot of these women is making 100K a year. They're taking trips to exotic lands. But in that day, the Lord is going to keep most of you women here in America to suffer and starve and eat your own children. And yes, it's prophesied in the Bible. All right, so that's why we tell you women to repent, man. Stop being proud, because this is what will happen if you continue to be proud and continue to follow the philosophies of Esau, Edom, the goddamn devil, man. All right. Lamentations 4 and 10. "The hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children." That means boiled. All right, so you women gonna start boiling your children that day because there's gonna be a lack of bread out here. "They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people." So little Daquan Quavius and Tyree, or whatever you call your children out here, the ones that you say you live and die for and you protect, you're gonna be eating them children, man. All right. And it's prophecy. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the Lord, man. All right. So let's go to Matthew, man. This is a brief example of famine in the scriptures. And Lord willing, I can come with you with some more instances. All right, Matthew 24. The famous Matthew 24 and 7. It says, Matthew 24 and 6, "And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places." Verse 8, "All these are the beginning of sorrows." Now with this coronavirus, people are being quarantined in Italy. There's like 17 million people being quarantined. China's already on lockdown. They've been on lockdown. And America's about to be on lockdown. So what do you think happens when you can't go to Walmart? It's going to be a famine. And you can't go outside the house. And people are already going ape shit, going to Costco and these other wholesale places and getting food. So what do you think is going to happen? You know, you Negroes don't take anything seriously, man. You think ginger ale is going to be the common solution to famine and fighting the coronavirus. Not trusting in Yahweh Shemel Shai. You just think that you're just going to shuck and jive your way to get out of these situations, man. And it's already prophesied in the Bible that you put on the dashboard when you drive on your way to work. All right, so let's go on down to Matthew 24, man. Matthew 24 and 14. "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end shall come." You got brothers in Africa right now, Germany, Holland. Pretty soon through the Spirit, you'll have camps in Japan. All right. You know, different parts of the world preaching this gospel, man. You got a brother in the Philippines right now, man. So, but you Negroes in America, man, you don't pay attention to that. You don't pay attention to biblical prophecy. You just coon and buffoon, man. All right. Wherefore, where you therefore shall you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet. Stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. All right. Then let him which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Those mountains represent Africa, man. If you read Babylon the Timbuktu, he talks about how so-called black Jews fled into the interiors of Africa. Those were Jakes. And they established communities, man. That's why you have a lot of Nigerians and people from Ghana and West Africa. Even you have a lot of so-called Ethiopians that are really Israelites. They fled into Africa, man. All right, because of the persecution of 70 AD. They got the hell on. Meanwhile, the people that stayed there, most of them suffered being slaves or they died of hunger, man. All right? So, let's go to one more prophecy about this famine, man. Second Ezra 15, verse 49. Second Ezra 15 and 49. I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence. And that's what's happening right now, the pestilence to the waste thy houses with destruction and death because of the wickedness, man. If you go up to the top of the part of this chapter, let's get it. It says, behold, verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, coronavirus, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled. In the midst of this coronavirus, our people still being homosexuals, trying to be transgenders, trying to be lesbians, trying to get away from doing the law, worshiping these other gods. And that's why the Lord is sending this, man. And he's even sending it upon the heathen. Those heathens in Psalms 80, the 83rd chapter who wanted to discontinue the name of Israel, they're feeling it. Look at the so-called Chinese. To hell with them. And look at the so-called Chinese in America. They get what they deserve, man. I ain't shedding no tears. And you brothers out there that's listening, ain't nobody shedding no tears for Moab, man. So continuing on, it says, let's get down to this 56th part, man. Second Ezra 15 and 56, like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Lord, even so shall God do unto thee, and shall deliver thee unto mischief. So as you done to us, we're gonna do. The Lord is gonna do to you heathens and 2/3 of our people, man. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy city shall be broken down, and that's what's gonna happen, man. Look at Italy, man. It's broken down. China broken down. You can't even drive through that bitch. And thy shall perish with the sword in the field. They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger and eat their own flesh and drink their own blood. That's cannibalism. And FYI, man, if you brothers is in this truth for waking up, man, you need to stop eating McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King because that food contains a lot of human meat. Okay, and there was a so-called Jew. One of the reasons they took down my old page is because I had a video on this guy, Rabbi Finkelstein, that said basically they sacrifice humans and crumble up the meat and make it to McDonald's meat. So stay away from McDonald's, man. That's why these Negroes love that place. I'm loving it. Yeah, you loving human flesh. So a lot of this meat has human flesh in it, man. You know, and they're preparing the people to be cannibals. It says, for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. So that's what's happening, man. That's what's going to happen soon. So, the Lord willing, that was edifying, man. And till next time, I want to say shalom. And shalom, Akim. Just to clarify, it says the Flavian dynasty was a Roman imperial dynasty which ruled the Roman Empire between 69 AD and 96 AD, encompassing the reigns of Vespasian, all right, and his two sons, Titus and Domitian. And I was kind of trying to guess it, but, you know, for edification's sake, it was Vespasian, Titus, all right, and then Domitian, all right, all right. But under Titus was 70 A.D., man, all right. The Flavians rose to power during the Civil War of 69, known as the Year of the Four Emperors. So, just for edification's sake, that's the Flavian dynasty: Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. Shalom.